second to make sure everything's streaming wherever I want it to be. It looks like I'm on Facebook okay. And I'm looking at LinkedIn is okay. And I'm not sure if if YouTube is working. Let me make sure. Sorry, I knew we up. Maybe we rolling. Hey, Kara, do me a favor. Let me know if the other things seem to be working. My trusty YouTube, is my YouTube working? I know there's a few second delay when I ask these things. Looks like we're floating along okay on the other sites. Team, let me know if anything goes wrong. There we go. Now it's all popping up. Hey, Thursday, live office hours, super sunny out, helping you build a career you love. Thanks for stopping by. We're all over the place today. Not like erratically, but we're on YouTube like always, like we've been doing for the last 2-3 years. Facebook, welcome to you, anybody who's watching over there. And LinkedIn, I don't know if anybody's on that platform, but we're streaming there too. So, hey to you, get in, say hi, let me know where you're from. Let me know what you do. Let me know what you need. Put some question marks in front of your questions. I have a chat that commingles all of you together. And so I'm just going to go right in order. If you are in my job search boot camp, please give me a shout out. Use your hashtag. And leaders, I got my leader mug today for you all. Great to have everybody. Thanks for stopping by. This is like my favorite time of week. It's like even better than my weekends. So great to have you. Let me see. I see a chat. We got a whole bunch of people. And I see Dean, my boot camper, not live on Facebook yet. Let me see. Sorry, hold on. You got to hit the play button. Is Facebook working? It's not set to Eastern. So this is what happens when you're in Andy land. We don't really test a lot of this stuff. I say throw it up, and the stuff is supposed to work, and it should be moving just fine. Stacy, give me a hidey hi. I see me on Facebook. I see you guys would laugh your butt off if you could see my stream. Okay, I'm assuming everything is good. I'm assuming Facebook is just on a delay. Hit your play buttons. I'm rolling. So let me see what we got here. I hope the chat pulls in to a central repository. Hopefully I'm not missing anybody with the chat. But Dean, I see you. William, I think it's Ulinsi. It says starts in an hour on my end. You're not live on Facebook. Hold on. Let me. Hang on a sec, folks. I'm not really sure. Looks like it's online. I'm seeing me. Let me see if I hit this button. Let me see this. I don't know why I would have had to do this, but give me 1 second. Try it now. Okay, y'all ought to be seeing me there. I have no idea what this looks like on LinkedIn, but I'm sure I'll see it after. Hopefully that's still working. And for anybody who is actually on Facebook, hopefully you're watching us now. It looks like it's live. It says there's one person, which I know is at least Stacy. So, all right, now it's working. All right, let me get to some questions. William, how are you? Let's get this guy up, and he is on YouTube. All right, how does one keep up their attitude and performance in the old job when you have an offer for a new job but no start date? So that is one fantastic question, my friend. All right, so attitude's hard all the time. Attitude's hard all the time, especially if you're getting run down. I'm guessing that if anybody is joining us on Facebook and LinkedIn, and William, I'll get right back to your question. It's probably because, unlike YouTube, when I say go live now anyway, YouTube is smart enough to know, let's get started. So I think I had to manually tell the other sites, which is why I love YouTube the best. Reason number about 8,000. Okay. All right. William, Great to have you. How does one keep up their attitude and performance in the old job when you have an offer for a new job but no start date? So here's a couple of ways that I live my life in general. This has everything to do with anything that I do. So it's not just about your job. I am, and this might be a little self-helpish, but I am very focused on living the present moment to the fullest. Okay, so I cannot stress this enough. This makes no difference whether you're in a job, you just started a job, you're leaving a job. I'm never going to get that moment back. So I go through an extensive process each morning. That's part of just I literally do focus practice. I meditate and all this other good stuff so that it starts me into the day on the right track, so that when I go through whatever it is that I'm going through on any given day, whether something's just starting, I'm in the middle, or I'm wrapping up just like you are, I know that I'm going to get the most out of that particular moment. I'm going to be fully present so that I absolutely can enjoy it. And one other thing that I would probably keep in the back of my mind, in addition to being completely present, is what happens if something goes wrong with that new job. So when you don't have a start date for a new job, or the start date is from the time you sign the contract to the time that you are starting, the further away the start date is from the day you sign the contract or the day you sign the employment agreement or whatever it might be, the less likely you show up. So if you are in a situation where, and we've had this as my executive search for Mile Walk, we would recruit for some organizations where they would have what they call just-in-time hiring. So as an example, a consultancy or a software company that offers consulting technology services to its clients, it might want to get individuals interviewed through their hiring process and know that that's an individual that they want to hire, but they don't actually have an assignment yet. So when they get that assignment, they want William or somebody like him who is open to working there but doesn't have that specific date to be ready to go, give his 2 weeks notice, and off he goes. So these kinds of situations can happen, but I would go back to, you've got to focus on the moment and have the joy in the doing of what you're doing whenever you're doing it. So that is my tried and true way. I know it sounds a little cliche. If you are interested in more about that, I know I have some focus videos on my YouTube channel which you can watch. And if you're really interested in the whole shebang, I have a whole session in my leadership program on that. It's really, really awesome. So I hope that helps. I'm assuming everything is still fine. Can I get it? Everything is still fine. Yeah. Great team. Great stuff. Bradley Stone, good to see you. My Instagram friend. And Emma, one of my favorite Europeans. Gina, how are you? Sal, always great to see you. Nikki Rose. Lubino. Stella. I have several jobs on my resume where I lost my job due to corporate restructuring. Some are short in tenure. Is it a good idea to put a sentence in each job overview indicating why I changed jobs? Love this question. It is tricky. So Stella, I appreciate that question. I know how tricky that can be. And what I would say is I do not, under any circumstances, except one circumstance, which I'm actually going to tell you, ever like to put explanations on my resume. Your resume is a marketing document. It's not a document to defend yourself. It's nothing like that. So my short answer to your question is no, I would not put any explanations. I have one specific clarification that I want to mention that I know is gonna touch a lot of you because you're going through this. If, for whatever reason, you are currently, there's two exceptions. So it's 1A and 1B. Number one, if you are in a gap right now, so what could that gap be? So I'm looking for a job because I was a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad and I'm returning to the workforce. I decided to take a year off and get my master's in business administration. I decided to take a year off and care for my elderly mother, whatever it might, my sick child, anything that has pulled you out of the workforce, except something like getting let go, restructuring, RIF, or anything like that, at the end of the career profile, which is my version, the Andrew LaCivita resume, School of Resume Writing, my version of a summary at the top of your resume, I recommend 2 paragraphs. I will tell you how you can learn how to write this in a few days from now, and I'll mention that at the end of this too. But at the end of the career profile, the very last sentence of the second paragraph, I would put returning to workforce after 8-month, family care leave. After a year of traveling to, have some fun and see Europe. Whatever it is, you can explain that you are returning. Now, there's one exception. I said that was one, and then there's kind of like 1B. If you had a gap in your resume, so let's say between 2013 and 2014 you were off and you decided you wanted to stop working, you wanted to go back and get, your degree in something or something of that nature, or maybe you did have family or care leave or whatever it was. The last sentence, instead of returning to the workforce, you can say spent, achieved MBA from Harvard during 2013 and 2014. And that's an explanation, but it's also a combo of an advertisement of you. So those are how I would approach it. It's a fantastic question. And one thing, I'll put the plug in right now. I've got, if you haven't gotten the memo, a 4-day resume writing workshop. It is gonna be awesome. Starts Tuesday. I don't know when you're watching this video, but it starts Tuesday, August 4th. It continues August 6th, August 11th, and August 13th. And if you are wondering why on earth it takes 4 days to explain to you how to write a resume, it's because I have to explain what the resume is all about, how somebody looks at it, what they're thinking, what they're asking themselves. That takes a whole session, plus there's questions you're going to have. Then I'm going to teach you how to write the career profile. I'm going to show you down to the dot exactly what it looks like. I'm going to give you the script. I'm going to give you the formula. I'm going to show you the samples, and you're going to have some questions, so I'm going to answer those. Then we're going to move on. We're going to talk about the highlights section, which is, the Reader's Digest Cliff Notes of the impact you can have. I'm going to teach you how to write that, and then we're going to do a Q&A. And then the last session is the professional work experience. I'm going to show you exactly how to write that. And if you jump in now, and hopefully, Kara and Stacy can throw these all out in the chats that they're monitoring for me, you will get a resume content builder. It is a 12 or 13-page booklet from me that not only shows you exactly what the layout of the resume ought to look like, but I show you what each section is about. I have notes why it's important. You can read all this now, like this instant, and you can look at what the topic areas are that should go into each section. There's some formulas in there. It's going to make a heck of a lot more sense when I explain it to you. But there's also a section in the back, which I call my Career Achievements Journal. So I took my Career Achievements Journal and I put it in the Resume Content Builder. And the reason that I'm giving you a shout out on that is because if you grab that thing today, a part of being ready for the workshop that starts next week is going through the Career Achievements Journal and starting to collect the scenes from your life. And not just collect the scene, but collect the pieces of the data about the scene. All the specific stuff employers care about when you're telling a story. You could start thinking about, hey, what stories do I want to put on my resume and then tell in the job interviews? That's what that Career Achievement Journal is all about. And plus, and then it can be used for ongoing. It's like a journal, like a diary, where you can capture the information while it's fresh in your mind and while you're going through it. Hey, what a concept! So grab that, and I hope to see you next Tuesday. It's totally free. It's totally free. Yes, I have a boot camp that I'm gonna pitch you at the end of it, but there's no obligation to get into that. But if you want to learn how to write your resume, you stop on by. Stella, thanks for teeing that up for us from YouTube. Emma, yes, you're on YouTube. Bradley, my flying Uber tuber, Candida. Hey, got a lot of YouTubers, and I'm guessing the YouTubers are first because we started early on YouTube. And I don't know exactly how many all are here, but I'm just grateful to have all of you. Medina, how are you? Okay. All right. Medina's asking, hey, Andy, I remember Rachel's story who found a job in Germany without speaking German. Should one look for specific companies? In this case, I'm in France looking for a job there, but not fluent. I'm assuming you mean you're looking for a job in France, but you're not fluent in French. Regardless, for all of you who are not Medina, who don't remember Rachel, who is pretty awesome, Rachel is just fantastic. She's a senior financial professional. She was living in South Korea. She wanted to move to Germany. She moved to Germany, and then she didn't speak the language. She moved there because she met somebody and was getting married. She's married now and very happy, if you must know. She joined my boot camp to help her figure out how to get a job. She was taking German classes, so she was learning to speak the language in the morning, and then she was job searching in the afternoon. She got into boot camp, and within 8 weeks, without speaking the language, we helped her get a pretty awesome job, and it was really great. But we made sure that she was doing a couple of things. She, not speaking the language, but knowing that she had great assets that organizations would want, we not only had her targeting companies and networking and building a network, so the tried and true job search challenge, she was doing that. But what I also had her do was I also had her contact recruiters of a certain ilk that I knew would be interested in her profile. So as part of her challenge, she was also to reach out. We actually had a one-on-one session. So I coached her to reach out to these individuals and get connected with them and offer your network, especially if they were international recruiters. So we took the scope outside of Germany with individuals that would be interested in talking to somebody like her. And so, wouldn't you know it, one of those worked, and then that recruiter got her to a global insurance company who created a position for her. So that's the backdrop in 8 weeks. Okay, that from start to finish, that's about how long it took. So if you are in France, and I am actually working with I had a call with 2 people, one from the UK yesterday, one from Switzerland. I'm working with a lot of people in Europe. Some of the countries are very, very visa focused. Like there's a pecking order in which there's a ranking of who they can offer the job to first. You need to be a citizen or whatever that country would call it, but basically a resident of that country. Then there are certain visa types that you have to have, and then if they can't find anybody with those, with those characters or from those groups, I should say, then they go to people who are immigrants or don't have the right approvals yet. So it can be very difficult. Now, I don't know about France, but the one thing that I would say to you is, I would be reaching out via the job search challenge techniques. It works even in your situation. I would, in your case, also be targeting some third-party search firms that might be able to help map you. I don't normally do that. Okay, I wouldn't normally recommend that, but in this particular situation, Medina, I would, but it can be done. I was on the session, actually it was yesterday morning, it was her yesterday afternoon. She's in the UK, and she can speak different languages. Her thing was she's able to surface interviews in different countries using the job search challenge techniques and the boss hunting techniques. That's what she used, and she's got a ton of interviews. And she had one where she's interviewing with them, but they already the recruiter has let her know, hey, we want this position initially in Paris. She's in the UK for the first couple of years. Then you could move really wherever you want. So I was talking with her yesterday about how to approach the whole process and make sure she gets what she wants the way she wants. And her husband doesn't want to move to Paris for a couple of years. I'm guessing he would if they had to. But we're going through this. So I'm letting you know that I'm seeing it with people that I'm coaching in Europe that is possible. I would not be limiting myself. So now I am not an expert on all the European countries, but in my job search bootcamp, we have people from over 100 countries who have been in the program. I have met with people from all over, everywhere you can imagine, Australia, Brazil, all the Asian countries, the UAE, Dubai, all those places. Every spot's a little bit different, but Medina, you have access to these assets, so I would lean on them for sure. I hope that helps. I hope Rachel's story was encouraging too. All right. Oh, look at it. Can you just say hi to Mom? Mom, how are you? You know, you're on my list to call today. Say I love you. Hope Dad's doing great. Everybody say hi to Miss Amelia. Thank her for having me so I could give you all this free help. And Beth McKenzie, my leader and boot camper, how are you? James Snooks, Lou, Jeff, how are you? Bob Ashman, my boot camper and my leader. All right. William, thanks again for that. Devlina, my boot camper from Cupertino. Hope everything is going well. It was so nice to meet you. Yes, Emma, we have leader mugs. Always New York style. Can you speak to impatience? I would love to speak to impatience. This is going to go back to William's question as well. And I know it's kind of a broad little question there. This is how I live my life. I said this last night, as I was interviewing a company that I wanted to enlist to help me build out the Mile Walk Academy in one of the facets. And I said to this woman, and I'm going to say it to you, always New York style, that I want you to be very, very impatient with your actions, and I want you to be very, very patient with your results. So what do I mean by that? So when I'm setting something up and I'm going to offer my job search boot camp out to you for the very first time, I don't want to wait 3 years to spec everything out and blueprint everything and be, it's got to be perfect, that perfectionism approach and attitude, which is basically code for I'll never get anything done. My view is I'm impatient with getting it moving, or at a minimum taking my first step to make progress. It doesn't have to be perfect. When I put my first video out, it was shortly after I committed to being a trainer in this format. Guess how bad that video is, right? I was impatient. Let's get it out. I can always scale version 1. So take the first step, whatever the first step is. So for my boot camp, I say, okay, I'm going to be impatient. I'm going to develop an awesome thing, but I'm not going to take twice the amount of time to make it 10% better. I'm going to do 90%. I'm going to get it out into the world, and I'm going to start working it, and I'm going to sell it. But when the results come in is, okay, well, how many people are enrolling, and are you able to help them at the deepest level, which is ultimately what you want to do. And as a business owner, you need to make money. Otherwise, you're going to go broke if you spend 90 minutes a week, every week, all year long with people and giving them free advice. So the first rollout of the first course, and it wasn't the boot camp, it was a large career course. We sold a bunch, but not anywhere near what I'd hoped. So I could have been impatient with the results and then thrown the towel in and then tried something else. But I didn't. I was impatient with the action. I got it moving. That's a good thing. I'm saying that's a positive thing. And then I made sure that I continued to improve it, and the results got better. And the one thing that I know, and I want to say this about all of you because I know a lot of you are going through this, and I hope this inspires you. And I said this to I might have said this to both people yesterday that I coached. There is nothing wrong with you, okay? You are totally whole. You do not need to go out and grab 8 certifications. You do not need to go and get an MBA from wherever, or an MS, or even a college degree if you don't want to, okay? You are just great, and there are employers that are here in this world that would be falling all over themselves to hire you. What we tend to do as a job seeker, though, is we think there's something wrong with the product because no one's buying it, okay? When I would say to you, there's nothing wrong with your product. There might be everything wrong with your marketing of your product, okay? So are you actually marketing yourself consistently? Are you actually doing my job search challenge? And if you don't know what the job search challenge is, that's free. You can head over to the Mile Walk Academy and check that out. But it is a way to get you consistent in reaching out to people, which is true job searching. Yes, you do need to have great marketing collateral. Guess what? I got a free workshop you can come to, and we'll help you build your resume. But the one thing that I do not want you to do is go spend a lot of time trying to change this. Okay, you don't need to change. Don't worry about if employers aren't calling you back. That's not the right employer for you. Or look at it as a data point to say, hey, maybe my marketing's not good. Maybe my cover letter isn't good. Maybe I'm just not calling enough people. Guess what? I don't know how many people. There's a couple hundred people on here already. I don't know what the whole number is across. 2 of you will buy something. 2, maybe 6, right? I'm focused on those people, right? Then once they jump in, it's the same kind of thing for you. You just need one employer, okay? So impatience. I would say this in relation to your job searching. Get moving. Draft the cover letters. I give them to you for free, right? Draft the resume. We're going to be doing it over the next couple of weeks, right? I give it to you for free. Send it out. Go to the job search challenge. I teach you how to send it out for free. Okay, so like get moving. It doesn't have to be perfect. Okay, job search challenge calls for 15 send outs of your messaging, covers, resume, networking messages a week. In 2 weeks, that's 30 people that you've reached out to. You're going to get pretty good pretty fast. Okay, so that's what I would say to impatience. I really think you're all better suited focusing on your marketing and not trying to change you. Yeah, if you want to improve self-help and all that, I'm all great with that. Okay, so that's what I think about that. Kara, do me a favor. I see you said there were some YouTube questions that were in the beginning. Can you cherry pick a few for me that you think would hit the wide audience? Let's do our best to try to get those people who are here early. Nikki, how are you? Pablo. Oh, Pablo. Good to see you, my friend. My boot camper and my leader. Always, I love support. Love support. Daisy Guzman. Melissa Gaines, my boot camper, clinical nurse educator wanting to pivot back as educator. Great to see you. Kevin, my boot camper and leader, how are you? In general, what do you recommend putting in the subject line of a networking email to a stranger? Kevin, let me answer this a couple ways. And I know I'm talking to you as opposed to the broader audience here. Go into the boot camp in module 3. Grab the networking templates. There are 10 copywritten templates in module 3. They're for all strangers, okay? So 10 cold ones. And then what I would do is look at the content and the relationship of you and the individual. So for the broader audience, the subject line is going to be dependent on the strength of the relationship that you have with the individual you're sending it. If it's distant, hey, long time no talk. Hey, I really admired your profile. Hey, I'm interested in joining your team. Hey, I'd love to help your company. Whatever it might be, you have to pick the subject that's appropriate for the strength of the relationship. Is it more professional, more casual, that kind of stuff? And what it is that you're reaching out about. So for you, the content are in the templates. I've already written them for you. I also, if Stacy can pop these on Facebook and LinkedIn, and if Kara can pop it on YouTube, I have a video out there about subject lines for your cover letter. That's a public YouTube video. What should the subject line of my cover letters be? And there are some samples in that too, especially for the boss hunting one. So check that out, my friend. Charlene Mitchell, how are you? MTH, nice to see you finally. Bob Prather. Bob, you guys are on our quarantine list. How could that be? I just, nuts. Oh my goodness. Beth, job prospect has developed for me in Highland Park, close to you. Yes, very. You could meet me for lunch or dinner. Okay, Dean, I'm having an initial phone screen for an executive level role that is much higher than I've ever before. Awesome. I want to hit a home run and be invited to move ahead in the recruiting process. You are welcome. Dean. Wait, hang on. This isn't even a question. Can we do 2 things here? Can we give Dean send him some good juju and some good vibes, okay? Dean, I have a video out there that is an absolute must-watch for you. And it's a must-watch for everybody, but it is especially a must-watch for executives. It's called Executive Level Interviewing, and I give you 12 of the most important steps for you to follow and for you to do. It might be my personal, one of my top 5 favorite videos I've ever created on any subject. It is fun, it's fast, it is lifting up the veil on things, it is pointing you to things that you would not otherwise think about, and you gotta nail them. You gotta go 12 for 12. Okay, so check that out. Maybe Stacy or Kara can grab that and pop it in the chat. Can I just get a Heidi hi? If you guys are liking this, hit the thumbs up, share it with people wherever you are. I love this. I love this stuff. I love helping you guys. I mean that. You can't fake this. You can't show up every week if you don't like it. Believe me, you can't. So I love it, and I want to help people, and I hope you can help me get the message out. I just want to make sure, can you guys, wherever you are, is everything going okay with the different streaming? I can't even see me on LinkedIn, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on there. I'm on the event page, and I don't even see me. But if Stacy tells me it's okay, then I'm assuming we're okay. I can see me on Facebook, and I can see me on YouTube in my bright green shirt where everything is backwards. Hang on, yeah, there we go. Okay. Oh, I love this. I love this. I wish I could put this up. Elena. Okay, we had a question earlier in the YouTube chat that didn't get ported over, and I absolutely love this question. I want to give you a little trick here that I use for live office hours. And the question that Elaine is asking is, well, when preparing for an interview, how can you make sure you avoid forgetting important details of your stories what you should say in your response? So the first thing is, whenever you are responding, number one, I'm assuming that you've spent a little bit of time practicing the high points of your message. Now, I have actually an interview intervention. If you guys don't have this book, I give this book away free. It's a $29 book. I've manufactured it for you. It's sitting in the warehouse. We have a page. You can go to it. You get this hardcover book. You get the ebook, the audio book, and you get an extra $27 book called How to Interview the Employer, 75 Great Questions to ask before you take any job. All of that, you just chip in a few bucks. I'll send it to you anywhere in the world. The reason I mention this book is because in this book, there's a chapter called my Silver Bullet Interview Chapter. There are what I consider to be the 14 best questions an employer can ask you. But in addition to those 14 questions, there are 43 variations that I've identified. I've told you why they're asking them and what they're looking for. Now, when you get to Elena and she's asking about, well, how do I remember without forgetting? Well, one of the things that I would do is I would make my own notes of certain elements that I wanted to include in the story. Okay, so when I do this on the fly, okay, so there's two ways that I do a live show for you. Sometimes, like next week, I might have note cards or I might have slides, but effectively I have like one word or one sentence triggers for me, where I have the information that I want to tell you stored up in this noggin in what I call my little memory hotels. Okay, so there's 5 things I got to tell them. I'm going to welcome them. I'm going to tell them what I'm going to tell them and why it's important that they should understand it. Then I'm going to give them the how-to, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm going to tell them the mistakes they're going to make. Then I'm going to recap it for them. Okay, boom, outlines in my head. All right, you need write it down and then pick the points of the major stories that you're going to tell. You need 5 stories. I'm actually going to do a session on the 5 stories. I don't want to get into that now. But of your stories that you're going to tell, you can use the stories for multiple purposes. That means you don't have to remember so many stories. You only have to remember so many stories. And I wouldn't write it all out. I would just try to write the highlights. Then what I would do is I would talk it out loud. And I would see how it sounds. You know, does that sound natural? Does that sound natural? Okay, I got to make sure I get that point in there. And then just practice it a few times. But you don't want to write it all out and read it to yourself and try to memorize it, because trying to remember it under duress is going to make you forget. Okay, now, that's if you've scripted your story. But how do I do this every week? How am I able to, on the fly, just go and know when somebody asks me about impatience, I want to tell them this. When somebody asks me about this, I want to tell them that. You could say it's experience, and it is, but it's not just experience. I have to package up on the fly a specific answer, and I have to create one that not only addresses the question you're asking me, but handles scenarios that other people might need. Okay, so in order for me to do that, when the question is asked, the thing that I do is I think about, okay, they just had 200 characters to ask me a question. I'm sure there's 8 other things that they needed to tell me, but they didn't get to tell me that, which means now I have multiple permutations and combinations of things that can be going on for them, and I would answer it differently depending on each one of those scenarios. So what I do is I try to immediately process all of that, and then I put it in my head, and then I say it out loud to you. I say, hey, there's 3 different things we got to cover. That reminded me there's 3 things I got to tell you. Okay, the first one is boom. The second one is boom. The third one is boom. And so I've created that outline in my head on the fly. You will need to do that in an interview, because when they ask you a question for which you have not prepped, here, let me give you an example. All right, it's one thing to know your own stuff, but what if they say, hey, Elena, we got this project, and we're about to kick it off, and you as a project manager, we'd like to know how you would assess this project and what the steps are that you would take in order to implement it, and it's to implement this customer relationship management software package for one of our clients. Okay, so now you don't start talking, because when you start talking, you get lost in your answer. What you do is you immediately organize your answer in your head. Well, if I'm going to run a project, there's 7 things that I need to do. 7. Now they know there's 7 parts to the answer. And the first thing is we're going to look at and make sure that we understand what the issues are. We'll segment the customers. Second thing is we're going to go and we're going to talk to the stakeholders. I'm going to make sure we're going to gather the user requirements. Then we're going to design it. Then we're going to architect it. Then we're going to develop the software. Then we're going to QA it. Then we're going to convert the stuff, and so on. There's the 7 things. So the first thing that I would do, now you just put the outline out there and you just said it out loud, and now it's registered for you and them. And then you walk through it. So in the first step, here's what we're going to do. And in the second step, here's what we're going to do. And they know there's 7. They won't get bored. They know what to expect. They know what's coming. You framed it for them. Okay? That's what I do with you on every one of these. So that's how when you have a structure. Now, what I would say is, and I don't know which Elena you are, and I don't know what your background is, and I use that project manager example. But if you're an accountant or a finance geek or a salesperson or a whatever, hey, there's 11 stages to the sales process, right? You have skeleton structures of your experience. Part of prepping for an interview is developing the methodology and the practices for each of the answers that you could potentially be asked. Project manager is going to get asked about how to implement a project. Salesperson is going to get asked about how they go about selling. Right? You know the skeleton needs to be there. And so the skeleton needs to be there for the historical stories. How did you do that? And the futuristic stories, the situational stuff. How would you do that? The same skeleton is used. This is how you don't forget things. When you got that down cold, there ain't no stopping you. There's no stopping you. Your level of communication will be off the charts. They know exactly where you're going with your story, and you won't forget. That's how I don't forget. And that's how I can create it on the fly. So, and sometimes you might see me say, hey, if you could let me know that, I'll take you down a level even. But that's how I do it. Try that. Apply that to your own situations. It will be so much easier when you remember the skeleton. I only need the outline, and I know the details if you lived it. If you have my Career Achievements Journal, you should be practicing off of that too, because it'll tell you the data and the details that you need. So I hope that helped. That is a phenomenal question. Phenomenal question. All right, how are we doing? Kara, that was a great one. Let me know if there are others, or if you, Kara, if you really got your dancing shoes on, if you see them in the, if you see duplicates, that would be good too. Dean, have an initial phone screen. You mentioned that. I think, did I pop back up? Got that one. Kevin Weaver, transferable skills. I hear chatter about transferable skills when looking at other industries. I've added my transferable skills to my resume after my core competencies. Is this a good idea? Okay, this is You know what? You guys, can you all give yourselves a shout out? Do you know what happens? Each week, we sit here, right? We go back and forth, and we get a lot of similar questions, which is okay, right? We all have similar challenges. That's how we know what to coach you on. But today you guys got some great ones. I love these. Mixing it up. You guys are getting my challenges in the emails. I love it. All right, Kevin Weaver, this is fantastic. Transferable skills. I've said this many, many times, and I often say this for who? Career changers, right? Andy, I'm a project manager. I want to become a seller. I'm a salesperson. I want to become a marketer. I'm a project manager. I want to become a product manager. Whatever. I'm an IT geek. I want to become an executive recruiter. What do I do? And I call these capabilities. These are foundational. So there's two things you need to know. There, I just did it, right? Two things you need to know. Capabilities and transferable skills. This is how you market yourself as a career changer. The first thing is, and Kevin, I don't know what you're going from or what you're going to, but let's just say, sake of argument, you're a project manager, you want to be a salesperson, okay? Well, capabilities, you look forward to where you're going. So a salesperson has hard skills that know selling tactics of a specific product, service, solution line, or whatever, okay? So how to sell that software product to those people in that space. How to sell CRM solutions to healthcare companies in a SaaS model. That is a hardcore skill that if an employer did that, they would be looking for somebody who had all those skills, right? But that's the hard skill that comes with on-the-job experience. Then there are capabilities that are foundational. So the difference between a hard skill and a capability is, well, what are the foundational abilities that a salesperson needs to have to be great? Okay, well, they need to understand human behavior, human pain points, psychology, excellent communication, organization, writing skills, speaking skills, right, all influential skills, right, trust building skills, so on, so forth, and all. Now, all of those things are capabilities. The smartest employers look for these first, and these capabilities are reverse engineered from their best performing people. Let's go get Susie and reverse engineer what she is and why she's so awesome, and then let's go hire for that kind of thing. And then they focus on this layer down here. Now, you're over here. You're the project manager who doesn't have CRM sales solutions for SaaS solutions in the healthcare industry. No, you're a project manager. Now, what would be really great is if you were a project manager that ran IT projects in the healthcare space, knowing customer relationship management solutions. That would be really awesome, okay? But if you don't have that and you still want to move over, you want to highlight the things that you know, the capabilities that you have that are now transferable to the new job. It is always about where you're going, folks, not where you've been, right? Your marketing document is your resume. It is not a work history document. It is a marketing vehicle to get you to where you want to go. In order for that to get you to where you want to go, you need to take out and extract the capabilities that you have that are transferable. What are project managers? Well, maybe your transferable skill is you're very organized. Maybe you are super sweet at communication. Maybe your writing skills are great. Maybe you're highly organized. Maybe you supported sales. Maybe you were working the proposals from the solution side and so on. Maybe you have industry skills. So one of the things that I also want to point you to, Kevin, phenomenal question, but one of the things all of y'all ought to watch, this is a video I don't call out very much, but I have a video out there on the fastest way to change careers. And I give you the different steps and the routes to take. Fastest way, absolutely fastest, tried, true, proven a million times over. That it's the fastest routes. But one point I wanna mention for Kevin's sake and you all is that the less change in the change, the faster and more effectively you can make it. So what do I mean? Well, I just got done saying, well, if Kevin's a project manager, he wants to become a salesperson. Well, it's what can you overlap that you know as it relates to being able to sell something. So if you're a project manager who knows customer relationship management solutions and you know the healthcare space, I would be looking for, right, sales positions that sell software, preferably customer relationship software, customer experience software, or something of that nature in the healthcare industry. If you can't find that, life sciences, insurers, payers, providers, whatever you got, try to overlap this stuff. The less change in the change, the faster and more effective the change. So here, what's another one? I'm a project manager in my company. Can you stay within the company and then move over to sales? You're a known commodity. You don't have to learn the solution line. You don't have to learn the people. You don't have to learn the commute, right? Like that kind of, well, we're all at home these days anyway. But you get what I'm saying. That's a fantastic question, Kevin Weaver. You scored, my friend. Can we all give him a shout out? Michael Moore, aren't you a director somewhere? I've spent the last 19 years as an independent consultant and student. That looks like a big gap in my resume. How do I deal with that? That's not a big gap to me, buddy. That looks like pretty dang awesome. All right. Michael Moore, spending the last nearly 2 decades as an independent consultant and a student. That looks like a big gap in my resume. How do I deal with that? I'm assuming, let's just sake of argument, that let's just call it 19 continuous years. And even if you took time off to go back to school, on your resume, you are Michael Moore Inc., Michael Moore LLC, Michael Moore sole proprietor. I don't care what you call it. And then, from whatever, right, 2001 to present, and you are you don't have to say independent, you just say consultant for project management services, right, providing support to Fortune 500 companies, so on and so forth, whatever it is. Senior certified professional accountant, where you're an independent contractor, but providing accounting services to public and private sectors, including major brands such as. And then in your work history, you want to have some of the different projects. Now you are a longtime independent contractor, which means you probably have a lot of different projects that you've worked on. Now, when you are a longtime independent contractor, there's a couple of things that you need to make sure that you do. You want to get the most relevant projects onto the resume that they look at, the one that is 1 to 2 pages. Okay, so depending on how long you want your resume to be. But let's just say it's 2 pages. Put the right kind of projects on there. And for you still should have a career profile. You still should have career highlights. And then you should have one effectively not overly filled page, meaning half the one page, half the other, of your work experience. Sample projects. Those sample projects should be collected from your entire 19-year history that are most relevant for what you are applying. And then any education, right? You said you're a student, so you got education and other things that you've done. So you would want to cherry pick. So if you're going to go and you're a project manager and you're going to work at a pharmaceutical company, you either want to pick your pharmaceutical experience, or if you're going to go to a pharmaceutical company, you never worked for a pharmaceutical company, that's okay. Maybe you've worked on business intelligence solutions. Get those in because that's what they're trying to hire for. Then what you do is you have a separate document. You have a separate document that lists out all your projects. I don't care if it's 20 pages. Okay, you just want to list it all, and you can say to them, if you want to see a complete work history, here you go. But you want to siphon it down to the most relevant stuff. That does not look like a gap to me. Now, in your discussions with the recruiters, whether the third party recruiters or corporate recruiters, you want to make sure that you are letting them know that I'm tired of being a contractor. I want a home. Why are you tired of being a contractor? I don't want to sell myself anymore. I'm great at accounting. I'm great at whatever it is that you do. So believe me, they'll understand that. The issue for a 19-year consultant is we get a little worried, us recruiters, about whether or not you're a flight risk. I have a video out there somewhere about being a consultant. Go to my YouTube channel, type consultant, and there's some videos about transitioning from being a consultant to full-time employee, and it'll pop up. That's not one I reference. I like this. When I'm referencing stuff I don't reference a whole lot, you guys are asking me good questions. Michael Moore, hope that helped. All right. Can I get a shout out to my team can you guys give Karen Stacy a shout out and give me a chance to ask them if everything is okay? They do a phenomenal job making sure this all happens. I couldn't do it without them. I love them, and I hope you guys just give them a big thanks. Believe me, a lot goes into this stuff, and it's really great to have them. So is everything okay? Just say everything's all good everywhere. Let me know. Give me 1 second to check this. Okay. How we doing? Everybody good? I'm good. Halfway through. Don't see a lot of, Stacy Care, do we have people in the chats in these other, I don't know if we have people in the chats, some of them, I guess. All is going well. Love that. Okay. I see a lot of these from YouTube. I hope you like that. So now I'm able to put it up on the screen from anywhere, and it will pull your picture in if you have a picture, and then it will tell me where you're. Okay. Stacy's telling me we got a great question. All right, just make sure I get to that. Stacy, don't let me hang out without answering that. First timers, awesome. Yeah, can we, just so you guys know, if you have no idea where you are right now, you are in the long running, I say the longest running, I am absolutely certain of that, live office show, weekly show for career coaches. And I said to Kara when we started this a couple years ago, I said, I give the other coaches 6 months. They'll break down and they'll do it. And some of them did, but most of them couldn't stay, couldn't consistently show up for you. Yes, there are a few Facebook, LinkedIn comments get automatically added to the YouTube chat. What? LinkedIn comments get automatically added to the YouTube chat? How cool is that? Oh, I know, because I'm using software that does. Can we all laugh at the lack of technical ability, even though I was an electrical engineering undergraduate and I finished my degree with high honors, I might add. All right. Oh, God, funny. Irma. Hi, Andy. How do I change the industry? How to convince them during an interview that I can do a good job? Irma, do me a favor. Check the video. Let's make this short because I want to get through a lot of these. Check the video on how a career changer can win the interview. I give you, literally, it is beautifully packaged. It's 10 steps. 10 steps that the career changer has to go and do in a job interview. I bet you didn't realize there were that many. Check the video out. And if Karen and Stacy got their dancing shoes on, Irma, they'll give it to you. That is exactly how I would do that. It is already perfectly packaged for you. It's probably a 10-minute video, and I hope you enjoy that. All right. Dean, my boot camper from Germany, I believe. Christopher, my boot camper and leader, how are you? MTH, I had 2 interviews today after a long search with this dismal job market. Job number 1 was a final round interview. What do you do if job 1 offers me a position while still waiting to hear for job 2? I need you to do a couple of things here. MTH, this is one where I unfortunately don't want to go through all the scenarios because there are so many questions related to, is job 1 the company you want? If it's your first and foremost company that you're dying to work for and they give you an offer, you work it, to something you like and you accept it. If job 2 is really the one you want, then you're going to have to make sure that you ask job 1 for some time. Now, I have a video out there on how to handle multiple candidates in a job interview. So when you, the job seeker, are engaged with multiple candidates in the job interview, you might be wondering, well, Andy, why the heck are you talking about that? I asked you about job offers. Because in that video, I talked to you about the prerequisites and the seeds you need to plant in the beginning of the interviewing process. This is chess, not checkers. So there's moves you got to make in the initial screen. Anytime you start a job interview with any company, you need to plan for success. Okay, so remember, folks, when you fail at something, you might be thinking, well, I didn't have the skills, I didn't know how to do that. Yeah, that can cause you to make mistakes and unfortunately things not to turn out the way you'd like them. But a lot of times we fail because we didn't plan for success. And let's not get overly dramatic. I mean, MTH might take a job when I might have said, well, I know it looks like success, But what if you would have actually planted the right seeds, gotten the time you needed, let job number 2 come up with its better offer at a better company, but you pulled the trigger too fast because you thought a bird in the hand was better, right? That's a failure in my book. Or you didn't get as much money as you could, or you didn't counter appropriately, or you didn't have the perceived leverage that you think you had because you would have had that other job offer. So I want to point you back to that video because it tells you what to do, okay, along the way. And you plant the seeds by and the cliff notes to that, or I guess spark notes to that these days, is you let them know and you communicate with them along the way that you are interviewing with other companies. You might say, well, Andy, if it's the first company I start interviewing with, I don't need to say that. That's not true. If you go into an interview with somebody and you are only interviewing with that company and it's your first company, you say to them, you are the only company that I am interviewing with. If that changes, I will let you know. And then the minute you get an offer to interview, you go back to company 1, you say, hey, just want to let you know, I have another interview coming up. Just wanted to keep you informed as I promised. Okay? And it's with another company for a whatever. Okay, the more you can communicate, the more it works to your advantage. It's the exact opposite of what most people think. Okay, because you are now earning a reputation as a communicator. What do people love about communicators? That they communicate and that I can trust them because he is showing me in his actions or her actions that he is communicating with me. So I know if anything changes, he'll let me know. So if he comes down to the end and he says, okay, I'm receptive to your offer, but you remember that other company that I was interviewing with, they told me that I have a final round mid next week. I will try to get more information from them about what would happen after that if I was successful to get an idea of what the time frame is going to be. Can I get back to you and let you know that, and then we can talk about what the situation looks like, the amount of time I might need in order, think about how much more likely you are to get the request honored if you've been communicating along the way. Now look at the other scenario. You didn't tell them anything. You got a job offer. Now you go back to company 2 and you say, hey, I got a job offer. Like, why the hell didn't you tell me that? Right? I'd have expedited the process, or I'd have got the big boss and the right-hand person back here on Wednesday so we could have wrapped this all up, but now I can't do that because they're off traveling or wherever, right? You can really get into some touchy situations. So your question to me, I would say, if you want to make it work, you make it work and you work it, right? You negotiate, you do all that other stuff that I've spoken about ad nauseum in my salary negotiation playlist, right? Go check those out. But if you need time, you got to ask them, and my hope is that you let them know that that was a possibility. Okay, it's really important. Check that video out, and lots of luck with that. And my fingers and toes are crossed. You get both offers, and that's awesome. I love it. Wonderful. Jeff, how are you? Any advice interviewing for a position with 2 co-presidents for a position I have known professionally for a decade? Any advantages or disadvantage? Jeff, I don't have any other. I've said everything I was going to say on the subject. So all the job interviewing techniques that I've given you, I would use. And if you're interviewing with them at the same time, I've given you the panel, how to handle the panel. If you're doing this on a video, I've given you the video instruction. There's a major and a minor video out there on videos, and I even answer the question about video panel interviewing. So check that out. And when you say with 2 co-presidents for a position I have known professionally for a decade, I don't know if you've known the position for a decade or if you've known the 2 co-presidents for a decade. If that's what you're saying, I still think you need to dazzle them. I actually think that you, more than anything, run the risk of comfort, if that's what you meant. I don't know if the participle is dangling or what, but that's where I'd go with that. Rochelle, how you doing? I have project manager turned copywriter first thing on my career profile. I would not do that. And LinkedIn headline to show that I am a career changer copywriter, but not new to the corporate world. Is that a mistake? Yes, I would not do that. Talk about what you are. Make it focused, because if you say project manager turned copywriter, I'm going to pass you over for copywriters. Good? Good. Okay. Charlene Mitchell, How can I go about a job search based on what skill sets I have to offer as opposed to hunting for specific job? Okay, Charlene, real quick on this. Stacy, can we get the dang job search challenge out to everybody? Folks, this for Charlene, this is exactly what I want you to do, right? I want you to go and I want you to target organizations that require the skills that you have based on the products or services that you support in whatever capacity that you support them. If you account for them, great. If you sell them, great. If you manage projects that implement them, wonderful. If you service them, beautiful. Right? So I think you definitely need to get into the job search challenge, and I do provide a great number of assets in the free program. Now, I didn't really plan on mentioning the job search bootcamp, but other than the allusions that I made. But my job search bootcamp, you might have heard me mention this to Kevin earlier, that it's a phenomenal program. It's on special right now through the resume writing workshop that we're doing over the next couple of weeks. So you got a couple of weeks to enroll in my job search bootcamp on special. And then we're also meeting privately as a boot camper group on August 14th, the Friday. So if you get in the boot camp and you want deeper level of training, for somebody like Charlene, I have not only given you the job search challenge embedded in the boot camp, but I give you all the tools, all the templates, all the other stuff that's copywritten for you, not to mention all the mechanics for every aspect of your job search. But if it's something that any of you are on the fence about, what's really nice about jumping in now as opposed to what a lot of you will do is wait until August 14th at 10:59 my time, is if you get in now and you are a boot camper during the resume writing workshop, I'm going to elevate your questions. So the boot campers are going to get priority in that. That's a special for them that everybody is welcome to come to, but it's packaging that I'm doing for them, and you can go through the product and look at that. You can join me for the resume writing stuff, but then you can come to the private boot camper booster, we call it, the private boot camper coaching sessions. We have over 24 of them a year where it's only the boot campers, and I spend a lot of time teaching and answering their questions. And on the 14th, I'm teaching you how to get at the information that you want to know but don't know how to get at. So I'm going to teach you the line of questioning that you have to go through. And what am I talking about to make it crystal clear for you? Like, how do you know they're a meritocracy? How do you know they're a collaborative environment? How do you know what the cultural characteristics are truly like, or what that boss is like to work with? All those things you're trying to figure out, but you don't know what questions to ask, and it is a usually 6 or 7 step process to get at exactly what you need, not either what they think you need or what they want to tell you, okay? So it's very different. So that's the teaching portion at the Boot Camper Booster on August 14th, and then we have another one on August 28th where I'm going to teach something else pretty cool. So anyway, just a shout out to that. I appreciate all my boot campers I answer questions for them every morning. We have dozens and dozens of live private coaching sessions where I answer all their questions. It's really awesome. It's really a lot of fun. Great for career changers or anyone who is furloughed reconsidering their career path. Yes, that's true. Stacy's reminding me to tell you that. I have all kinds of specialty modules in there too. Executives, career changers. We have seasonal stuff in there. I did a whole thing on COVID for them. It's really, really awesome. I just love that program, and the people in it are just fabulous, and the community's amazing. Yes, DA from Sonoma. You know what? I ordered a case of wine from Bovinia, one of my faves, and I ordered it, and they said, okay, it'll be 2 weeks. So 2 weeks rolls around. I say, hey, where's my case of wine? I'm thinking I hadn't got an alert. I call them, I'm like, you were going to send this temperature controlled anyway. They said, well, we decided not to send anything because, it's been so hot. I'm like, hey, send that sucker. We need it. Love that. Love it. But now that's in Napa, but still. Jared Oliver, hey, Riaz, Paul Augustine Green. Kyle, hey, Andy, just want to say thanks for your cover letter tip. You're welcome, my friend. Looking back at how my old cover letters used to look before I listened to you. Thanks for the advice. It's, you know what? We all evolve. We all evolve. If you want to know how I've evolved, go watch some of my early YouTube channels or my early YouTube videos. Kevin, great to have you. Jeff, hey Andy, my boss emails don't seem to be getting much of a response. How should I send out? Okay, this is great. Okay, all right. Number one, thank you for this question. I'm going to repeat the question, and I'm going to try to package this up tightly for you because I do want to refer you to the Job Search Challenge, but I want you to know a few things. All right, so Jeff is asking me, his boss emails don't seem to be getting much of a response. How many should I send out before you recommend I make a change to it or my resume to see if I can get a better response? Okay, couple of things. Number one, you might not know what the heck Jeff is talking about. So boss emails, he's referring to my boss hunting technique. If you are not familiar with the boss hunting technique, guess what? It's on YouTube. Just type in boss hunt and a video is going to come up. I don't think I had any facial hair at that time. It was like 1 minute of my life I didn't have it. And I walk you through how to target individuals inside organizations, and you will have better luck sending your messages to bosses or potential bosses or people that look like authority figures. It doesn't have to be the exact boss. It could be the boss's boss. It could be somebody who runs a unit. But basically, the premise and the spirit of what you're trying to do is get at people who are in need, okay, of hiring, or are always looking, right? If I got 10 salespeople and I'm the VP of sales, I can guarantee you 2 of them can go, okay? So if I get somebody who sends me an email with a nice resume and it looks like Jeff or whatever, and I say, hey, I'm gonna look at this and we'll talk to the guy, right? That happens a lot, and 80% of jobs are not even publicized anyway. So you need to be going to the people who are likely in the biggest pain. All right, that's the first thing. Now, what Jeff is saying is they're not working. Now, let's make sure we're going to calibrate what working is, okay? Now, statistically, people in my job search bootcamp that use the boss hunting technique is one of the techniques that they use. They also have 8 or 9 other ones that I give them. All right, when they use the boss hunting technique, usually, okay, this is across all boot campers, thousands of them, 100 and some odd countries, of the people who provide the data back to me, and they all know I want the data. It usually takes them between 5 to 10 initial send-outs of the letter to get an interview. Okay, wrap your mind around that. So in a week, let's split the difference. Let's call it 7. In a week, I have the Job Search Challenge, which I want you to get into, calls for 3 send-outs a day. Now, send-outs could be reaching out to a networking friend. It could be targeting a boss. It could be recruiter hunting. It could be all kinds of stuff, okay? In a week, that's 15 if you're just working Monday through Friday. That means you should surface 2 interviews. If you are not, you keep going right into the next week. Law of averages. Now, we had a situation. His name was Kevin. He's in the Job Search Bootcamp. He had his resume professionally done, probably spent $1,000 on it. I'm sure he was crying after he says to me, Andy, I've tried everything. I've sent 42 messages, boss hunting messages, and I've got 0 responses. To which I said to him, okay, Kevin, there are 7 different problems that you could have. You could be targeting the wrong people. You could be targeting the wrong company types. You could have a bad resume. You could have a bad message. You could have a whatever, right? We run through all these, 1 to 7. All right. Can you tell me, I want you to go back and I want you to think about these things. He does, a few days goes by. He emails me back. He says, well, I'm still, pulling my hair out of my head. Then he lets me know he had his resume professionally done. He didn't use my format. He says, well, to be honest with you, one of the items here that you have near the top is my resume, and I had it done. It doesn't look like your template. I said, send it to me. I'm only going to glance at it, but all I need to do is look at it for 2 seconds. Literally, I just need to look at the format and see what's in there to know if that's the problem, because I can answer this for him like that. Sends it to me. I said, ooh, send it back. It's your resume, 100%. Don't worry about it. Go change the thing. Go watch Module 2 of the bootcamp. Send me your resume. I'm only going to look at it and glance at it, and then I want to see it. He sends it back to me. I said, don't send any messages anymore. Send me the resume. I'm going to send it back to you. Send it back to him. I said, okay, go. So then I want to hear from you in 2 weeks. So go 2 weeks. Actually, it was 42 more companies. Okay, so you did 14 days, 3 a day. 7 interviews my way. Okay? It was his resume. All right? So you never know. One guy, Matthew, different guy, Matthew, super dude, he was targeting managers where he was a manager, thinking that this would be better if he goes downstream instead of contacting directors. So stop doing that. You need to go up a level or two. As soon as he does that, all of a sudden, interviews start flying out of his pockets. So it could be any little thing. Now, the first thing I want you to do is get in the Job Search Bootcamp. And for those of you that are not familiar with the bootcamp, the Job Search Challenge, which is free, I teach you over 4 days. I teach you what the challenge is, and then I teach you exactly the 3 key steps you need to take. So how do you identify your companies? How do you identify the people you need to target? And then what you need to say to them, and then send it. And the 5th day of the Job Search Challenge is actually the longest video. It's 50 minutes on here's all the things that can go wrong, and here's what you should do about them. So Jeff, I would highly recommend that you get in that, because that is not flying around on YouTube. Okay, so you gotta sign up for the free challenge. We send you an email each day. We unlock a free video for you each day inside the Mile Walk Academy system. We cheer you on. You can let us know how you're coming along, all that good stuff, and it's free. But I would go to that. So that is a big plug for that free asset that you guys all have access to, that you can try. You can immediately sign up for it, and all the detail about what to do. And what a lot of times happens, and this especially happens in the Job Search Bootcamp, which is the premium program, is I say to people, go through the thing, just go through it and learn. And then I get the emails inevitably, or in the system, where they say, oh yeah, I see. This I wasn't doing right, and that I wasn't doing right, and that I wasn't doing right. And they self-diagnose, and then they can make the adjustments. Then they go out into the world, and then if it's not working, I'm here for them, right? They ask me questions, and I answer them every day. So I would definitely do that. So unless I'm sitting there with you, I can't diagnose it, but I can give you the tools, and I'm giving them to you for free. So check them out. Linda, how are you? Oh, there's me. Christian, my boot camper from France. Michelle, my leader, how are you? Good morning from Vegas. I have shared. Awesome. There's Kara. Paul, when applying per direct email, how long should I wait to send another email if I did not get any answer? Should I continue the first? Here we go. Let's get you up here, buddy. All right. First things first. Paul, when applying per direct email, how long should I wait to send another email if I do not get an answer? Should I continue the first email, or should I apply with a new email with the same info? Okay. General rules of follow-up, and I would say this applies now. I made little tweaks because of COVID, but from an operating standpoint, most of the white-collar people that are out there, like you, that are looking for jobs, you can use these guidelines. I send a message on a day, Monday. Actually, I send them Tuesday, but Tuesday. I wait till next Tuesday. If on next Tuesday, at the end of the day, I didn't hear back from them, I re-forward the initial email with one line that says, hey, just wanted to follow up on this. It's been a week. I figured I'd follow up. Just wanted to see if you're interested. That's it. I don't want to read it anymore. Then I'll look down at the original message. Don't you write me more stuff, okay? Just keep it super tight. The fewer the words, the better, okay? That's it. I'd wait a week. If they don't get back to you, I'd wait 2 weeks. 21 days, call it a day. That's it. What I would really do during COVID time now is I would be spending a lot less time following up. I would be spending a lot more time looking for first-time send-outs of my messaging. And at the end of each week, I would look to see what happens, and then I would plan my work for the next week, and I would say, I sent 15 out. I don't really care about these 10, but these 5, I want to try them again. Great. Add those 5 to your plate next week. That's 5 more. Then 15 more. That's 20 messages. And then something's going to happen or not, and you're going to reassess the next week or weekend. That's how I do it. I did a for those of you who grab this, this is the cheapest way to get this. You grab this, okay? In the little $7 thing that you can grab this, there is an option to get the interview intervention course and the job interview mastery package, okay? So you get the $300 course and you get a $100 course that I toss in for like $97 or something. It's like an up buy, basically. And in that job interview mastery, the fourth video, the fourth really module is on following up and all the follow-up techniques that you need in your interviewing process, but also in situations like this. So it's a great question, Paul. Thanks for asking, and thanks for being a great supporter on the socials. Louis, boot camper, will your 4-day resume be recorded for boot campers to watch it off hours? Lou, just for you, just for the boot campers. I'm gonna trim it up and pop it in your training. When I say trim it up, I mean I'm gonna take out the Q&A and I'll just tighten down the teaching portions. Candida, how would you approach from business owner to getting back into the workforce on your resume and cover letter? You're a business owner. That's okay. That's your most recent company. That's your most recent title. If you want to use instead of business owner, you want to call yourself sales executive, you want to call yourself chief operating officer, you want to call yourself president, that's fine too. But people get it. There are a lot of people that are business owners or sole proprietors or whatever that are returning to the workforce. I would not make a big deal out of it. I really wouldn't. I would also watch. You could watch that video I mentioned about going from contractor to full-time employee. That's a really good one. Larry Cohen, my boot camper. Catherine, how are you? 29 degrees Celsius. Oh man, you're gonna make me convert that in my head. What is it? About 2 times plus 32. So 90 something maybe. Mohammed, my boot camper. Hey, Andy, the CEO of the company told me that his team will arrange an interview for me. He CC'd the HR manager, but no one got in touch with me. What do you think I should do? Email the CEO. So here's what I would do. 7-day rule applies even to CEOs. And if you got in touch with the CEO as a junior guy coming out of college, I'm guessing it's probably a small company. So I would, well, you could do a couple things. Actually, now that I see this, you CC the HR person. Okay, so what I would do is I would email the HR person only. Or you could reply to all and just address the HR person. Say, hey, I know, Andy said the team. Don't say you were going to reach out to me. I don't want to go all into the psychology of the wording and the phrasing and all that stuff. But when you write your stuff to whoever you're writing it, you need to look at it and understand what they could potentially misconstrue, especially because, and this is in my leadership program where I talk about communication, 93% of communication when you're doing it live doesn't even include your words, right? So you got body language, 55%, you got tone, 38%, and then you got this little 7% remaining of what you say. When you email, it's worse. And so when you email, you want to go to the lowest common denominator. So whenever you email something where somebody could potentially misconstrue something, write the email, print it out, take it, read it in your meanest voice. Like, the CEO said you were going to get back to me. Okay, like that. Okay, now, I want you to imagine you're this HR person who you do not know reading it like that. Right. Okay, so what do you do instead? Hey, really excited to talk to you. I know looked like somebody from the team was going to reach out to me. Just thought I'd follow up. I'm really interested in connecting. Totally different. No way that person gets upset at that. Okay, so you gotta watch that. Remember, print it, read it. Worst voice. I know, man. I got all kinds of tricks up my sleeve. I do. Mohammed, go get them. Let me know in the system what they say. You don't even have to reference this. I'll remember you. Just put it in the system. Andy, that thing we talked about, they got back to me. I'll know what you're talking about. Kimberly, always nice to see you. Oh, look at that. Wait, can I just put this up? Kimberly, are you like the only person watching me on LinkedIn? Because see, we got the little LinkedIn thing. So it's really funny because I beat the heck out of LinkedIn for like a year or more. Like, where's my dang live feed? And then one day they just sent it to me after I sent like 8 nasty messages. They probably got tired of me complaining, which just goes to show you don't take no for an answer. All right, Brandon Bradford, how are you? Olive, great to see you. Stella, I'm worried about age discrimination. I have over 30 years of experience in my field. Instead of listing the actual number of years in my field, is it better to say 15? Okay. Let's get this. All right, so this is a fantastic question, and for all my brothers and sisters in my age group, I'll be 54 next month. Feeling pretty dang good. So this is a great question. All right, for everybody in my demographic, Stella, she's worried about age discrimination over 30 years. Instead of listing the actual numbers in her summary, meaning her career profile, as I call it, but you can call it a summary, career summary, I don't care what you call it. Is it better to say 15 plus years? I would say 20. In your case, if you've got over 30, I would drop the year off your education. I would also determine where you want to cut the line. Okay, so let's be really specific. You know that question you guys always ask me about how far back should my resume go? I got a video out on that. But I'm going to give you a little something here because I want to help Stella, and I appreciate the age discrimination issue, which is an issue. It's not insurmountable, but it is present. You need to assess the value of the years of experience that you have in the job that you are trying to attain. So let me give you an example. If I was going out into the world and I was going to interview for chief executive or operating executive or strategy officer positions or whatever, I would leave my first 10 years of my experience on my resume because it was one 10-year run at a prominent organization, Andersen Consulting, which is now Accenture. Okay? Now, to drop that off the resume, then what would happen is between 1999 and now, which is the 20 years, I don't think my background in aggregate looks as impressive, okay? Because all the consulting work, all the running of the projects, all of the handling of the accounts and all that stuff, I think is relevant. And it says I'm well trained. If my first 10 years would have been 2 years here, 2 years there, 2 years there, 2 years there, 2 years there. Now you have to pick, well, okay, hang on. It looks a little happy. Should I just wipe it all out? You might say, well, Annie, I want my career changer. Now I want to go. We had this one woman in the boot camp in real estate, and she did loan management, a bunch of other stuff, very relevant, very early in her career. Then she did some other things for 20 years. Then she went back and got some degree, and this all down here became relevant. So then what I had to do was, we were doing a coaching session resume review. I took the stuff down at the bottom. I basically aggregated it all together, and I took the experience that was noteworthy and relevant for the career she wanted to get back to by highlighting sample companies and sample roles, and did it in a paragraph that all applied, and it just said additional experience, and I took the years off, but I put that in there. Now, that doesn't have to be sequential. So the important thing about your resume for anybody who has a number of years of work experience in their background isn't where do I cut it? It's how does the whole thing look together? So if I cut the first 10 years off, is it better to cut at 10? Is it better to cut at 15? It doesn't matter to me. You can go with just the last 10 years if you wanted to. I think you should go 15 at a minimum. 20 is good too if it's relevant. What you don't want to do on your resume is you don't want to siphon out in the middle, meaning if I go from 1988 till today, what I don't want you to do is, well, there's this experience in here at 2012 to 2015 that I want to just pull out. And so you want, when you make your start line, whatever that year is, if the start line is 2010 or 2005. You got to run continuous. Don't eliminate anything. Let it go. Let it run all together. So where you break it is up to you, but you want to make sure the top portion is continuous, okay? And only use the bottom for those who are trying to, at least on paper, hide the age issue. You want to make sure you're only speaking of relevant stuff, okay? So or eliminate it altogether. You have to determine what suits you. So I hope that helps, Stella. I know it's an issue for a lot of people. I really do. Hope it helps. All right. Stacy, hey there. Say hi to those folks. All right, let me try to get some questions. Hey, oh man, my mom is like an angel on earth. I hope she's still here. Thanks for that analytica. What is that? In a dream? Analytical in a dream. Linda, Savannah, Sanjay, Rob, my boot camper from around the block. Paula Gomez, hey. All right, April, same to you. Nice to see you all. Uzoma, my brother, from the other side of the pond. Hope you're doing well. Again, condolences. Hope you're doing well, my friend. All right, come on, let me buzz down. I'm trying to buzz down here. Hey, Annie, Emiliana. Hey, when writing a cover letter, is it preferred to address specific person? Okay, this is fantastic. Hey, Stacy, I don't think I've ever answered this one this way, this quick, on a show that we can clip here. All right, Emiliana, this is a great question. Hey, when writing a cover letter, is it preferred to address to a specific person? What if the company is not specific on who to address? Very simple. Number one, I'm going to tell you, it's always better to address a person. Okay, that's if you can. Okay, hey Andy, saw you're the chief executive of Mile Walk. Whatever. I'm reaching out to you because. Okay, that's better always. Boss hunting, that kind of stuff. You want to go to the recruiter? Fine, got the name. Address it to the recruiter. Not sure? Dear hiring team, dear human resources and recruiting team, or something a little more contemporary than to whom it may concern. So you don't want to go that route. But yes, it's better. No, it's not the most important thing if you're just not sure. People get it. People get it. Dear hiring team, dear HR team, dear recruitment team, dear careers team, whatever. You pick whatever seems appropriate. So hope that helped. That's great. Great. All right, buzzing on down. Karen M. Hey, Andy, how should I prepare for a telephone interview within 24 hours taking place tomorrow? So I have loads of stuff on the internets. But the one thing that I would do for you if you need something fast, two things. If you have time and you actually want to, if you don't have this book, grab it because you immediately get the ebook. We'll send the book like the next day we ship it out or next 2 days or whatever. But the ebook is there if you can grab it. I have a webinar called 3 Keys to Ace Any Job Interview. That's a beauty. It's about 52 to 58 minutes. I can't remember which one that is, but they're like 50 minutes to an hour solid teaching. It's all teaching. And that's a great one. And I have a phone interview article actually on my blog. And I would check those out. You got to cram a little bit. You do. Hopefully this is like the recruitment screen, right? So if they're gonna, if they're gonna get to you and you didn't know you had this, I'm assuming that was the case. Steve, how you doing? Tammy Chen. Oh, look at Can we all get Tammy Chen? Okay, we were talking about Rachel earlier. I can't do it. We were talking about too many buttons, say it. This Tammy Chen is awesome. She is in my job search bootcamp. She is in my leadership program. And last week, I think I gave you a little story about her, but can we all give her a high 10 because she moved from the other side of the planet to Canada. Didn't know anybody, wasn't really sure, maybe not super confident, kind of lonely, managing the family and the kids, right, looking for a new job, and within 12 weeks of getting into boot camp, actually, I think it was 12 weeks. It might have been, I don't know if you counted the time you started looking or the time you joined the boot camp, but let's call it within 12 weeks, new country, didn't know anybody, got a great job. Can we give her a shout out, my boot camper? You know how much I love you, and thank you for the just awesome email that you sent me. I read every word. I read them multiple times, those emails for sure. Great to see you. So here, showing her support, man, that's just your aces in my book. Karen M. I saw that. Shoni Newell, how you doing? I have not been doing that and getting... Where are we? All right, Symbian, 1 or 2. Should you keep your options open up to the point when you're onboarded? I have a friend who just got a nice offer and will get back to HR get back to HR in 48 hours for him to think about it. And then now out of the blue gets contacted by a former supervisor who wants to get him in his company, but no firm offers yet. Should he even entertain it? It depends. Now, ethically, multiple sides. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 things, both sides of my mouth here. Ethically, if you agreed, signed the employment agreement, set the start date, and they've shut down the recruitment for the position because they expect you to show up on, a week from Monday, big part of me says show up, right? However, the Andy who knows and loves and cares more about you recognizes that your long-term happiness should be your highest form of evaluation and the most important thing to you. So what I don't want you to be doing is looking over your shoulder, okay? And saying, oh, geez, what if I could have got back my old boss who I loved and that was the greatest time of my life and I'd love to do it again. He's got this new job, whatever. If you can do it quickly and you want to get in there, I would say, hey, old boss man or boss lady or whatever it is, I got an offer. I'm supposed to show up. I'd love to talk to you, but let's try to get on the phone and see if this is real because I don't want to muck this up, right? I gave my word. It's a great job and so on. Now, when the part about keeping your options open, I'm addressing your specific situation. What I also will say, one other scenario that you guys might want to consider. Sometimes what happens is you are in a situation, MTH had this one earlier, where you got company 1 and 2. And company 1 says, here's the offer. We need to know now by Monday, by Friday, by tomorrow morning. Okay? Let's say that's the case. And they're handcuffing you, right? And you don't want to lose it. And you're not sure about this one over here or these 2 over here, right? Take it, right? And they backed you into a corner instead of letting you have the appropriate amount of time to decide. Now, employers worth their salt. They let you decide. Why? Because I don't want you looking over your shoulder. Okay, I want you to decide in a reasonable amount of time, but I'm not going to demand if you are not emotionally ready to accept it, that you accept it. Okay? Now, so you accept it, and you go back to the other company, and you let them know, I've got this offer, and I need to hurry. Like, you need to let me know if this is a possibility. Otherwise, I gotta go work there. And then if they say, well, hey, I can't guarantee anything. We love you. We want to keep you in the process. Then you can write it out as long as you want, and then you can decide what to do. Because, again, they forced you into a corner. Now, I don't love that scenario, but we all face situations where it's like, ugh, right? And then what? You're going to go spend the next 5 years miserable? Right? I don't want that either. So but like if I accept a job, I go. If I got things rolling and we call them bidas, balls in the air, and they're still in the air, and you're forcing my hand, okay, I'll take it. And then what, you forced my hand. Now I have to break up with you, break your heart. So that's what I'd say. That's what I'd say on that. How do we ask for a market correction? You don't. I wouldn't on that. There is no such thing. Spoke to hiring manager this week. Daisy, arrangement made for Friday interview, still waiting for verification. What should I say in the email regarding this impending interview? Daisy, all I would say is it's Thursday. I just want to check in to know if we are on tomorrow or week or whenever it is. That's it. Don't overthink it. Just buzzing down. Great, great, great. Aw, look at you guys. All right, love it. Haha, mama. Yep. Buzzing on. Let's see. Awesome. DA, congratulations to you. Ray, Susan. Jorge, boot camper, QQ. If you are unemployed, do you put the last date of employment in your LinkedIn profile so it shows as a gap? Let's get this guy up here. Okay. All right, Jorge, boot camper, quick question. If you are unemployed, do you put the last date of employment in your LinkedIn profile so it shows as a gap, or do you put consultant to avoid a gap? So, first things first, you never lie. You never lie, meaning if you are actually a consultant, fine. If you are not a consultant, don't put consultant. Okay, don't do that. If you just got let go, or you just quit, or your company just disband that arm or whatever, you don't have to rush to change the LinkedIn end date. Okay, recruiters know, they understand that if it says to present and it's July and you left in May, they're not going to shoot you. They don't care. It's not a legal document. Okay, just say, hey, I know, thank you for reaching out, or I'm glad we're talking. I want to let you know I left my company in May. That's it. In the interview, say that. Now, if it's July next year, then I might be a little concerned. I can't remember. You guys could let me know. I don't really pay that much attention to it. I'm guessing LinkedIn requires you to put a month and not just a year. I can't remember. But if they don't require the month, then you could just put, 2019, 2020, or whatever. Something like that. That's what I would do. Christian, applied to a dream company a year ago, final round, wasn't selected. A year later, the company posts the same position. How can I approach the recruiter? This is great. Let's be real clear about this, folks. This is a fantastic question. This happens a lot, and it happens in multiple scenarios. So let's cover them up, right? All right. Christian applied, didn't get the role. Now it's resurfaced. Never go through the applicant tracking system once you have made a connection with somebody in the organization. The only exception to that would be if it's a large enough company and you did not get on greatly with the person who was handling you and you're going to apply in another division. Then I want you to network into the other division. But if you had a pretty good parting of the ways whenever you left, okay, so let's run the scenario back. You did not get the job. First thing you do when you don't get a job is you go to Andy's video called How to Get the Job After Getting Rejected. It's a beauty. I get emails every day from people who are like, oh my God, this worked. Right. They didn't get the job, and then they sent the email that I told them to send as a parting of the ways, where it's a combination thank you, cover letter. It's a thing of art. You need to have it in your repertoire. Any of you who are job interviewing right now or thinking about it, go watch the video, because I want you to have it in your repertoire, and I want you to do it immediately if it doesn't work out with a company you interview with. It's perfect. It not only lets you go out with class, it keeps the bridge connected, and it tees you up to follow up with them in 30 days, and then follow up with them in 90 days, and so on. Okay, so you do that. Now, whenever you see another option open up at that company, so if it's, hey, 30 days later, they reposted the job again. Okay, maybe something didn't work out. Maybe they put it on hold. Maybe the person didn't show up. Maybe the person showed up and didn't work out. You never know. 30 days is an eternity, okay, when you're hiring. And if you see the same thing pop up, you go right back to the recruiter. If you see another opportunity pop up that you think fits, go back to the recruiter. Say, hey, I saw this other opportunity surface on your website. I really enjoyed working with you. I would love to know if you feel I would be a good fit for this role. Okay? And you could be specific. Or if you follow up and you do not see roles, just say, you could say this role or any other, or you could say, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. I really was looking forward, at the possibility of joining your company. I thought I would reach back in to see what, if anything has opened up that you think I would be suitable for, or at a minimum, I would love to have a quick call with you in case I can help you and network with you on any of the positions you're trying to fill. How many of you ever call a corporate recruiter and offer your network to them? Give me a show of hands. Give me a show of hands. I bet there isn't going to be that many, right? Why do you not think that way? What can you offer? It's an excuse to email them. Hey, you know what? I really was disappointed. I really liked you and your organization. Can we get connected? And you know what? At a minimum, I'd be happy to open up my network to you. And because I know a lot of people and then you cite the positions at this, project managers, business analysts, QA testers, whatever, right? And you just, because that's my space. That's my field, right? That kind of stuff. And so Christian, you go back to them and you say, hey, I really enjoyed, connecting with you last year. I was greatly disappointed, as I said at that time. So I would still be interested. Is this a possibility for me to come back and get reconnected with you on this position? That's it. Did you attach a resume? You toss you almost don't even need a cover letter in that, because that is the cover letter. You should know you, or she should know you. So that's how I would handle that. Always go back in person. Always go back in person. Tony P, my boot camper, you don't write, you don't call, but I love you. Drop me a line, shoot me a text, let me know how you're doing. Pablo, Andy, I didn't get the push-up notification on LinkedIn. That's a great reminder. I would love to tell you I know how to work all this stuff, but if it ain't on YouTube, I don't know how to do it. Like these other sites, I don't even see me on LinkedIn. I am hoping I'm there. Stacy's telling me I am, but Pablo, great to see you. I don't know. Well, we'll figure this out. Maya, if I remove 3 of the big brand banks that I worked with for a very short tenure, how should I explain the gaps in employment? So Maya, I don't know exactly what your sequence of your resume looks like, but if you want to say big brand banks, if they were 1, 2, and 3 in a row, you can also, here again, where's the cut line? So if for the last 15 years you worked, and you got like 5, 5, and 5, and then before that you had 2, 2, and 2 at these 3 brand banks, you could say additional experience, worked at prominent retail, whatever, investment banks, whatever it was, such as performing whatever duties. And you could do something like that, and you can group them. And then you don't have to go into all that. Now, if you're trying to siphon them out of the middle, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that. So it's important. I know it's unfortunate if it works that way, but I would try to be real. They're going to do a background check. They're going to do a background check for sure. All right, how we doing? We're over time here. Okay, folks, I do have to get running. I want to try to get this. Let me see. Yeah, I do. I do. I see that. But we got to get running because I got to get to another meeting. So, all right. If I didn't get to your question, if you are, I'm going to leave the post up on LinkedIn and on Facebook and on YouTube. You can go drop it in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer. I try to answer the questions, as many as I can. I am going to be live on YouTube Tuesday, Thursday. That's the resume writing workshop. You're welcome to stop by. We're going to try to stream it to LinkedIn and Facebook too, if you prefer those platforms. I really don't care where you watch it, but I definitely hope that you grab the Resume Content Builder, which is free. That is a really, really sweet gift. It really is. So I hope that helps. And let me see if I could try to squeeze. Let me see if I could try to squeeze one more in from somebody on Facebook. Ryan, Say, interviewing for a position and preparing how I will handle an offer. I watched all your salary videos. If the offer is under what I'm looking for, I plan to ask if there's wiggle room. That's good. And explain why I think I deserve more. It isn't about what you deserve. I understand it is about what you deserve and it is what you want, and I want you to do that, but it is about the value you're going to add. And for the value you're going to contribute, you believe it is worth this kind of thing. Do you think I should do something different? No. And you are in speculation mode right now. So you don't, it's very difficult. It's very difficult for me to know because we're speculating about you getting an offer. And would you ask for even more if their offer is greater than what you were initially hoping for? Yes, absolutely. So the one thing that you all need to know is only those that are willing to go too far will know how far they can actually go. And only you pressing the employer will know if you left money on the table. Now, however, what I do want to leave you with, Ryan, anybody who's negotiating, it is not always prudent to try to get every last nickel out of an employer. So you need to know whether you're pushing them over the edge to the point you will have a bullseye in the back of your head. Meaning, if Ryan, you come to me and you say, hey, Andy, thank you, 100,000 is great. I really want 105. Okay. 102.50, right? Kind of thing. 105 it is, whatever. If you say, well, I really think I deserve 110. So, okay, if I give you the 110, I'm going to be a lot less patient about your results. So going into the impatience question, I'm going to be damn impatient when it comes to your performance, because if I'm having to pay an extra 10%, when I really thought I should have offered you 95 or whatever, right? So you have to determine where is that number based on their reaction, the communication they're giving you. So sometimes it's good to leave a little money on the table. It buys you a little freedom as you work. And at the end of the day, here's what I always say to people. I want all of you to get paid what you feel you deserve and what you will feel good and appreciated with. But I also need you to recognize that when you start looking at something like $5,000, and that's not chump change, okay, $5,000, but for most of you, $5,000 means $3,000, okay, or $3,300 or whatever when you take the taxes out. And when you drop that against 2,000 hours, we're talking about $1.50 an hour. You would have to work all morning to treat me to a latte at Starbucks. Okay, kind of thing. So is it worth pushing? Now, I worked with somebody over the last 7 or 8 days. We are negotiating millions of dollars. Okay, now these are different kinds of discussions. It's millions of dollars and certain guarantees and all kinds of things. And I had to give her a script literally of what to say at every section of every aspect of the offer. The reason I share this with you is because many of you, while maybe not making millions of dollars, you are making hundreds of thousands or somewhere in that neighborhood, and or even somebody who's making 100,000. You could have the salary, you could have a quarterly bonus, you could have an annual bonus or a commissionable or a variable pay. You might have vacation, you might have profit sharing, you might have profit sharing interests, phantom stock, RSUs, ISOs, right? I mean, all this stuff is available, and depending on the level of complication, sign-on bonuses, parachute clauses, if they fire you without cause, all of the things that need to be addressed and tended to, all of that works together in how you would approach that. So what we did with this woman that I'm speaking about with the millions, we kind of had a chuckle about this because she laid out the offer for me, and then she says, well, my husband says, and he's so silly, he wants me to ask for 3% equity and this and that and the other thing. I'm like, oh, then you're going to think I'm nuts and then I had raised everything that she was going to request, okay? And then she went back, and then she determined, okay, they would not give her, I told them, you need to ask for a $250,000 sign-on bonus. Well, I couldn't get the sign-on bonus. Okay, well, where did they cover that? Well, they added another $100,000 to the base and another $100,000 to the bonus. I said, okay, well, what about the minimum bonus? Like, I mean, there are so many things that you can do. And I share this because, Ryan, while I don't know you and I don't know, kind of what the whole situation or level of complication of your offer is, but even if you make $100,000, if there's 7 or 8 components to it, you need to know which levers they can play with, which ones there's room to give you, right? Which ones make them feel uncomfortable. So like the equity, they came up on the equity, but they couldn't come all the way up. So and then they started giving her choices, which I would have expected. So if you want more guaranteed minimum on your cash flow in the first year, then I have to take equity away. That kind of stuff. Then the dialogue goes to that. So you just need to be careful. But the short answer to what you're saying is yes, ask. You never know. I have some great stories inside the boot camp, like case studies that we talk about and what had transpired. Okay. Hope that was a good one to end on. I know we didn't get a ton here from Facebook. I couldn't see all the Facebook comments. I don't know where they were. I don't know why they didn't seem to get over to the stream. But I appreciate that. Ollie, I appreciate all of you. I really hope you can make it on Tuesday. It's going to be fantastic. There are no complimentary replays unless you are in the boot camp. So in my job search boot camp. So please, it's going to be great. I hope I see a lot of you there. Have a great weekend.